Hi, my name is Patrick Reagan. Welcome to Windows Tools Part 5 Task Manager. During this video, we will look at how to use Task Manager to see how your computer is performing and if there are any bottlenecks with the main components of the computer. We can also see what applications and processes are running, which application and process is using the most resources, and terminate them if needed. As always, stick around for the practice questions at the end to test your knowledge and help you prepare for the A+ exam. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button. If you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel for more tech training content and technical know-how. Performance is the overall effectiveness of how data moves through the system. It's important to select the proper hardware, such as processor, memory, disk system, and network, to satisfy the expected performance goals. Without the proper hardware, bottlenecks limit the effectiveness of software. When a component limits overall performance, the component is known as a bottleneck. When you relieve one bottleneck, another bottleneck may be triggered. For example, by increasing the memory, you can often increase the overall performance of the system up to a point. However, when you add more RAM, then RAM needs to be fed more data from the disk. Therefore, the disk becomes the bottleneck. So although the system might become faster, if performance is still lacking, you'll have to look for a new bottleneck. Often, you cannot identify performance problems by just taking a quick look at performance. Instead, you need a baseline to see what is normal for your computer when it is running well and within design specifications. Then, when a problem occurs, compare the current performance with your baseline to see what is different. Because performance can also change gradually over time, it is highly recommended that you baseline your computer as early as possible and regularly thereafter so that you can chart your performance measures and identify trends. This will give you an idea about when the computer needs to be upgraded or replaced, or the workload of the computer reduced. Task Manager gives you a quick glance at performance and provides information about programs and processes running on your computer. You can see the status of running programs and the programs that have stopped responding so that you can stop a program running in memory. Start Task Manager, right-click the empty space on the taskbar and choose Task Manager, or you can open up the security menu by pressing Ctrl-Alt-Del and choosing Task Manager. When Task Manager starts, it displays only the running applications. To end a program, you click the application and click the End Task button. Click the More Details down arrow to show all the available tabs: Processes, Performance, App History, Startup, Users, Details, and Services. The Processes tab shows all processes running in memory and how much processing in memory each process uses. A process is an instance of a program that is being executed. The process display applications as designated by apps, background processes, and Windows processes. On the Processes tab, you can perform the following tasks. To see the processes that use the highest percentage of CPU utilization, click the CPU column header. To stop a process, right-click the process and choose End Task. To jump to the Details tab for the particular process, right-click the process and choose Go to Details. If you want to see the executable that is running the processes, right-click the process and choose Open File Location. To add or remove additional columns, right-click a column and select or deselect the desired column, such as Process Identification or PID, or Process Name. You can open the File menu from any tab and run a new task. The Performance tab displays the amount of CPU usage, physical memory usage, disk usage, Ethernet throughput, and possible GPU usage. For CPU usage, a high percentage indicates the programs or processes are requiring a lot of CPU resources, which can slow your computer. From Task Manager, you can see your processing speed, the number of sockets, number of cores, number of logical processes, if virtualization is enabled, and the size of the cache. You can also see the number of processes, threads, handles, and uptime. If the percentage seems frozen at or near 100% all of the time, a program might not be responding or your computer has too much of a load compared to its resources. The Windows page file is a hidden system file on your drive that acts as an extension of your computer's RAM, providing virtual memory to handle more applications than physical memory can hold by temporarily moving less used data from RAM to the drive. Memory shows how much of the page file is being used, in use and available, the amount of committed and cache memory, page pool, and non-page pool. It also shows you the total amount of RAM, the speed of the RAM, and the number of slots used for the memory on the motherboard. In use is the total amount of RAM in use at this moment. Available is the total amount of RAM available. Committed shows commit change and commit limit. Commit limit, the larger number, is your total memory that includes physical memory plus paging file. Commit charge, the smaller number, is what's being considered as the total virtual memory all processors are required to allocate. As you open up more programs and the commit charge reaches closer to the max commit limit, you will have more memory in use and the page file will be used more. Cache is the memory that is passively used by the operating system. Page pool is the amount of RAM that can be moved to the page file if physical RAM starts to run out. Non-page pool is the amount of RAM that can't be moved into a page file. If memory is 70 to 80% or higher for 5 minutes or more, you have too many applications running, or you do not have enough memory. You should also check for rogue programs and malware. Make sure you reboot your machine regularly. Rebooting your computer refreshes its memory by clearing out temporary, unused, or corrupted data accumulated from running applications, which often causes system slowness, lags, and application errors. This process fixes memory leaks where software fails to release memory, restoring full system capacity and speed. The disk option shows capacity, active time or utilization, disk transfer rate, response time, capacity, if it's a system disk or contains a paging file, and the type of disk. If active time is consistently above 80%, you have too many applications running and accessing the disk, or you do not have enough memory, which causes your system to use more virtual memory. You should also check for rogue programs and malware. The network option shows send and receive in kilobits or megabits, adapter name, connection type, and IP addresses. If throughput is high, you should check for rogue programs and malware. If your system has a graphical processing unit or GPU, the GPU will be shown. The GPU options show the GPU utilization, the amount of GPU memory, the temperature of the GPU, and various GPU performance indicators. From Task Manager, you can open up Resource Monitor by clicking the ... button and clicking Resource Monitor. Resource Monitor is another useful tool in troubleshooting performance problems, which is shown in the next video. The App History tab is available in Windows 10 and 11, but not Windows servers. The App History tab in Task Manager shows CPU and network hardware resource usage on a per-app basis. You'll also see data for non-Windows Store apps and programs to show history for all processes from the Settings or Options menu. The Startup Apps tab is available in Windows 10 and 11, but not Windows servers. The option will list all apps that can run at startup. It pulls from the registry, as shown on the screen, and the startup folder. To change the settings for a particular app, right-click it and click Disable or Enable. The Users tab displays the users who are currently logged on, the amount of CPU and memory usage that each user is using, and the processes the users are running. If you right-click a user, you can sign off the user. The Details tab displays a more detailed look at the processes running on the computer, including the process identification, or PID. The PID is composed of unique numbers that identify a process while it is running. You can right-click any process and click End Task or End Process Tree. End Task ends the current application, while End Process Tree ends the current application plus all related service and applications it is using. Similarly, by right-clicking the process, you can increase or decrease the process prioritization. Similar to the Processes tab, you can add columns to the screen by right-clicking a column header and clicking Select Columns. However, you have many more columns to add, including threads, I/O read and writes, command line, or elevated. The Services tab displays all services on the computer that are running and not running. Similar to the Services console, you can start, stop, or restart services. At the top of the window, there is a link to open the Services console. Question: in Windows, what program can be used to see what programs are running and the utilization of various components such as CPU and memory? Answer: Task Manager. Question: what program can I use to stop a running process? Answer: Task Manager. Question: your machine is taking a long time to boot. Which of the following can you use to selectively prevent programs from loading? Answer: open Task Manager, click the Startup tab, and methodologically disable items that are enabled and reboot the computer to check for results. Question: your computer is running slowly. Web pages take several seconds to open, and applications are slow responding to user input. You open the Windows Task Manager and see the following information: disk 2%, network 12%, GPU 15%, CPU 70%, and memory 97%. Which of the following would you most likely do to resolve the issue? Answer: close unnecessary programs. Question: which of the following is used to determine how many active users are currently logged into the remote desktop services on a Windows computer? Answer: Task Manager. For more information, refer to these sites. In summary, Task Manager gives you a quick glance at performance and provides information about programs and processes running on your computer. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be Windows Tools Part 6, Resource Monitor and Performance Monitor. If you like this video, click the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Hedger Back channel. Thank you.